Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Good evening. Welcome to the Relationship Hotspot. As you know, I am your host, Nikisa Green. We have an amazing show for you tonight. I do have a fabulous co host that will be joining me on the show. Her name is Mrs. Nee, also known as Nina. She has been married for 16 years. So I thought that this show needed somebody that had some experience in the marriage world. But before we get started with the show, I do want to make sure you guys know how you can keep in touch with us and be interactive with us throughout the show as well as when the show is over. And so I do want you guys to know that that you can email your comments or questions to my relationship hotspot at gmail.com. You can also call us anytime at 903-636-3893. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Relationship Hotspot. So now that we got those propers out of the way, I'm going to bring on my fabulous co-host, Mrs. Nee, so she can introduce herself.
Hello, good evening.
Hey, hey girl, hey.
How you doing?
Thanks
So,
for
as
joining us
Nikisa,
tonight.
thank you for having me. I'm so excited and looking forward to it. So, as Nikisa said, my name is Nina, and I have been married for 16 years. However, we have been together for over 2 decades. And in that time, we've had a lot of life and a lot of love. And I'm looking forward to just touching on some topics and discussing and going through things with you this evening.
All right. Well, we are happy to have you. Hopefully, this episode will have you come back and be a guest of ours again, and maybe you can join us for some Q&A next time, so you can help us unmarried people learn how to have a relationship hotspot. So, so we're
Right?
gonna get into our hot topics tonight.
Okay.
Our hot topics. We're going to start off with Tamar Braxton. As you know, Tamar attempted suicide. She failed a couple of months ago, back in July. We've all heard the story, and since that story has come out, there have been several additional stories that have come out as
Right.
well.
Right.
Um, so one of the things that I wanted to highlight about the story is that her boyfriend or ex-fiance had called the police on her when she
Mm-hmm.
was leaving one of her doctor appointments, and
Right.
he said that she was physical with him, and then she's released her statement saying that he's actually been the one that was physical with her first.
Right.
um, and so I'm thinking that maybe, or not even maybe, that those clips that we saw of her show that came out on WeTV
Mhm.
was some warning signs for her.
Right. Right.
And
It all seems like it's been dysfunctional from the
yeah,
beginning.
um,
I think that Tamar, she just came out of a marriage. So I thought
yes,
that she needed some time to heal myself. I mean, I don't know how
hmm,
long she's been with David,
yeah,
behind the scenes. We act like we know somebody because we watch them on TV. And so they could have been
right,
courting for some time. However, it
yeah,
does seem like she jumped from a long-term marriage right
hmm,
into with David. And
yeah,
when you've been with someone for so long, and let me just say, like Vince, he's already seems like he's a lot. Tamar is a
yeah,
lot, we all know that. But Vince, he seems like he was controlling himself.
yeah,
And she seemed like she couldn't be fully her authentic self. And then when she tried to, it's even when you saw on the show, it's almost as if like he kind of hankered her down a little.
yeah,
So I think that she was just excited to get into a new situation, and she jumped too soon without really having the opportunity to vet this man out, and see what he comes with. And I think that he is an opportunist, as far as I'm concerned. It seems like it to me. He came at the
yes,
perfect time, and I think it was a recipe for disaster.
I agree. I
Yeah.
definitely agree. And you touched on him being an opportunist. I feel like he had did before the physical incident, he did an Instagram live or posted a video of him and Tamar's son and I think the caregiver
Hmm.
like outside walking. They were going somewhere just having a good time and he was videoing it. And I'm like, a man that want to be low key and so called so private, why is he
Right.
going live with her son after
Right.
this big incident of the whole suicide thing? Like, why are you going live? So then I'm like, maybe he is an
Hmm.
opportunist. And then when I
Right.
saw the show, when I saw TMZ posted that he had tried to do a restraining order on her, I'm like, now,
Right. Yeah.
dude,
He he's doing too much. I mean, now, okay, of course, when you get into a relationship, you would hope that the person would be welcoming to your children, and
yes,
but the timing was kind of like awkward. First of all, why are you
yeah,
doing a live if your fiance is in the hospital? Or
right,
even just coming out of the hospital.
right,
You
trying to
know, what's
recover.
right? What's that important that the world needs to know and see at that moment?
Hmm.
And so I thought that right there seems suspicious to me. And then you putting her child on there. It's almost as if he's trying to set the scene that he's so fabulous because
Yeah,
he him himself made it's alleged abuse. Of course, we got to say alleged abuse, but when people are abusers, I mean, I don't know, I'm no therapist or nothing, but it seems as though it's like they almost want to create a story. And it seems
yep.
like that's what he was attempting to do.
Create a story that he's the victim, he's the calm
Hmm.
one,
Yeah.
but and what also like made me be like look at him differently as well was Vince had a text message thread between him and Vince was basically saying like we are not friends, we will never be friends. How you treated the mother of my child,
Right.
pack up Logan's items, pack up the mother of my child belongings, and hopefully you will have everything packed. Let me know when
Hmm.
I can come get it so it could be a smooth transition. No, I'm not
Right.
giving you Tamar's address. You will never have her address. And
Right.
so, and he was just basically saying like how he was disappointed on how he acted and treated Tamar. So that to me tells me that he saw some things that was questionable for him to defend Tamar, who is the mother of his child. And then
Yeah.
the other thing is that he posted how he well on one of the clips that was shared online was the clip of him. I guess he was upset with Tamar because Vince had came over to the house to drop Logan off and he was still there. And Tamar was
Right.
basically like, why are you mad at me? I wasn't even there. Like, you mad at me because he was here. So it's like
Right.
this brings
And
up
then
that mhm.
why would you? Why would he have? First of all, it's not like the boy is a teenager. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like you're gonna drop him off at the door and speed off. I mean, like really, that is his son. That
Right.
is was her ex-husband. He wants to ensure, and obviously, like you said,
Hmm.
for him to he had to see warning signs. Any man, any good father is not just gonna drop their child off if they already have they've had the inclinations that stuff ain't right. He wants to come
Right.
in and see what's going on before he drops off his child. That little boy was 6 or 7. So it's not
Right.
like he was there, posted up waiting on her. He was just coming in as you should. Now you have to set boundaries. So obviously
Yes.
it's a lot more behind the scenes. Like in the typical case, no, would your ex-husband just be coming on in, grabbing a seat or something? No. But because she's not there,
Hmm.
she wasn't there. He was the pass off point. He wants to make sure what's going on in here. I'm not dropping
Right.
my child off at the door.
Make
I'm gonna
sure
walk in.
make sure
Exactly.
the environment is safe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So then that leads to the question is how much access do you give your ex who you have a child with, who you used to be married to for a period of time? It's like, is he allowed to come in the house? Is he allowed to come into his son's room? Like,
Right.
and if he's not allowed to come into his son's room, is there a reason for it besides insecurity and jealousy? Or, like, what is that about?
So I have no experience in this area, But just using common sense, I would think it's just really gonna pretty much, I would think, boil down to the relationship that the man and the woman, the mom and the dad have. Now, just because you have a child together does not mean you should have unlimited access to that other person. You know, you have to set boundaries. You know, like they can't, just because you can't willy-nilly, because who knows? She may have moved on and he isn't. And so, you know, you just got to set those boundaries. But I think that you know, so it's pretty much up to those individuals and everybody involved, to me, what works for them. No two situations are going to look alike.
Yes, I definitely agree. And I believe that as long as there are boundaries and everybody's on the same page with the boundaries, that it should be it should be smooth. And like that leads into talking about like blended families and making sure that you pick somebody that intentions are pure, not an opportunist. With this Tamar and David situation, I think she felt like she didn't have to worry about her money because he has businesses and he has his own money. I'm not saying he has just as much money as Tamar Braxton, but she felt like he could hold his own. And so, you know, with blended families, like we have Will and Jada, like I don't know how old Will's son was when she first started dating him, but they've been together for a long time. And so they had to, and then, you know, she had to welcome his wife in, and they even got to the point where they were going on vacation together, and there was like no beef, you know. One of like a perfect story to me, which you know, I don't know, we talked about this yesterday, but Russell and Sierra's story.
Yes, I mean, like, and you know what, playing devil's advocate now, because Russell, he just comes across as just the all-American good guy, you know, and so it's easy to, me on the outside, or us on the outside looking in, it's easy to be like, oh, you know, no. If he posted a picture of Sierra's first son, we probably wouldn't even be having this conversation. We'd be like, oh, he's so accepting of her child. He loves her and the child. You wouldn't think about it twice. But now we're judging, you know, Tamar's fiance, because, you know, perception is everything, and no two things, you know, and that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Sierra's husband, he could be a jerk too, you know, but you know,
but we see him in a different light.
Yes, and so we more accepting of it. You know, he's all American, he's a football player. He seems like he loves Sierra so much and the kids, and you know, so we don't think twice about him posting little Future, you know, and moving around with him.
And when I first saw it, I was like, she letting him post her son. I'm like, what Future say about that? Like, what he got to say? Because it's such a delicate topic, especially when there is known controversy between the two, like both parents. It's like, it's so delicate. It's like, I guess he was like, he probably had permission from Sierra. I don't feel like, you know, at this point, since knowing like, you know, a little insight on their relationship from her mouth, he probably had the permission to go ahead and post him and be free. And like, from what I've seen and what Sierra has said, he has treated little Future like his blood son. There is no boundary or exception to little Future and the other kids. They are all the same. And so, you know, I think it's good when families are able to be, you know, have blended families, you know.
Exactly. And that's what you would hope for. Now, I don't know about going on vacation. I don't know about going on vacation with them all now. You know, hey, but to each his own. But you can only hope that you only can hope that you would give us someone that is, you know, loving to. I would only think any mother would want to choose someone that's loving to her as much as he's loving to her children, even if they're not his biologically.
I definitely agree. So on that note, we're going to go to our first commercial. We'll be back in less than 60 seconds.
All right.
And we'll sail it for a night. Only just to work. Come on. Just say, Father, yes, God, we're here to
right. So
All
we only
right.
had one commercial that time. It was definitely less than 60 seconds. So
They
so
wanted to
we
hear what
are
we had to
back.
say. They wanted to hear what we had to say.
So we have people live from New York. Hey, Don L. I know him from a business I was in. Our sisters are on, Nina.
All
Both our
right.
sisters are on. Someone
Hello.
else was like Chi-Town, your friend. Thank you guys. Thank you,
Yes.
ladies, for joining us tonight. We appreciate you.
Yes, we do.
So we're going to get into our main topic for the night, which is the 80-20 relationship rule. I
Okay.
know people have their perception of what that means and what it's about. So I am just going to share what I found out when I was researching about this whole 80-20 relationship rule. It's a theory that states that you can only get about 80% of your wants and needs from your relationship, and the other 20% is where you get that from your own activities. You provide it for yourself. And so we're just going to break down what 80-20 is supposed to look like or what it looks like. And this is actually a rule in business as well. But in talking about relationships, I know for me, being a woman dating in a relationship, that it can be so easy to get caught up into the relationship where the relationship is the bulk of your life. And when it seems like you're not getting any outside freedom or any activities or anything outside of that relationship, it could feel like you're lacking or that something is lacking from the relationship when it's actually not the relationship. It's actually you're not taking time out for yourself outside of the relationship. And this is even like, being a mother.
Yes. Yes.
You want to go ahead and get the flow
Absolutely.
on this.
Yes, absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly with the 80-20. And me being married, um, just to be honest with you, I didn't know a balance of the 80-20. Coming
Mhm.
into when you get married with someone and you get so caught up in, I'm married, I love him, he loves me, and then you start to have a family. I did not know how to give myself 20. Not that I was told that I can't have a 20, but being able to realize that you can do it all. Like you can be an exceptional wife and an exceptional mother and also feed into yourself. But it was, if you're not taught that or your example that you see is all about your husband and it's all about your kids, then you miss that part. And and it's so imperative. You have to pour into yourself too, because you can't be anything for anybody if you're not everything for yourself. That's my theory. And so when you miss that, like I said, it's not that anyone told you not to, but in your mind, you're thinking like, this
Yeah.
is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be doing this and that and that and this. And so, and especially when your children are young, and so I tell women when they have found the right recipe, I'm like, my
Hmm.
hat goes off to you. I wish that I would have been able to realize that we can do it all. You can be a mother, a boss, and the
Yes.
greatest wife, everything for them, and you can have it all, and it makes you that more fulfilled, and so now learning as my children have gotten older, now I'm
Yeah.
like, shoot, I'm there. I'm capable of that. Like
Yes.
I said, it's not that no one told you that you couldn't, but I just didn't get that message. Like
Yeah.
some people get that message right away. And so it's like now you like, you coming into your own, you're like, yeah, I can, I will, take that 20, take that 30,
Right.
so you have to pour into yourself. It's necessary. And then when you get that time away and you accomplish the things, whether it be professionally or personally or physically, for yourself, you come back
Hmm.
great. It's like, oh, deep breath. Like when
Yep.
I get out and I have girls' time,
Yes.
and it's not that you running from anything, but when you get away and then you come back, it's like, I'm ready to hear Mason say 1,000 stories about the sky. Bring it on. It's just that you need that step away and you need that break, and feeling unapologetic about it is a bigger thing.
Yes.
I had
Yeah.
to come to a point where you feel like guilty, like, well, they need me, or I like they don't need you. They don't even miss that you're gone. It's like they're going to be okay. And it's
Mm-hmm.
okay for you to take a happy hour or
Yes.
lunch to yourself. Hell, even if you don't do it with anybody else, go get your nails done, go get your toes done, go get a massage. It's
Yes.
okay. But that's a learned behavior. And that's what I'm reprogramming myself now. Now that my children are older, just
Mm-hmm.
be like, it is okay to just go take the afternoon and sit at,
Yeah.
a hibachi and get my lunch and me a cocktail by myself. It's almost like learning to date yourself and learning to get out in the new world. And you don't have to be identified and attached to as always. Of course, you got to move
Right.
with integrity and respect.
Yeah.
But
Right.
as always, it's somebody's wife and somebody's mother. Because before I was
Yeah.
that, I was Nina. I was Nina.
Right.
And so
Right.
just
And you're gonna
getting back
always,
to
Nina will always be there. So that's the part that we have
exactly.
to, and I want to
Absolutely.
go back to the whole unbalance of relationships sometimes, and especially like before marriage. So like pre-marriage, how when you get into a relationship and you want it to work, you're going to put effort, intention, you're going to put your all into it 100%. I don't believe in the 50-50. I believe you bring 100, they bring 100, you come whole, they
Yes.
come whole. Of course that
Right.
doesn't always happen that way, but that is the goal. I feel
Right.
like that when you get into a relationship, that
Mm-hmm.
you spending time with each other. Like for me, I love companionship. That's
Yes.
probably one of the main only reasons why I would want to be in a relationship, is for the companionship. Seriously,
Right.
like seriously,
Right.
because I mean, I am about to get in the Bible, but the Bible says two is better than one. Okay, two is better
Yeah.
than one. But I wanted to
Yeah.
go back to how, even in the Bible, how it talks about Adam and Eve, and how when Eve ate the fruit, she gave it to her husband. He ate the fruit. They got kicked out the garden. God was like, basically, your punishment is that, of
Right.
course, the child labor pain, and then also, God told her your desire will be for your husband. And so
Right.
I think that it's a natural desire for us to want to, or to have, want to be 100% in the relationship, especially since God presented Eve to Adam as his help
Right.
meet. And so we
Right.
naturally already have those things inside of us. And so
Right.
when we get, how you get passionate about something, like I'm
Yes.
passionate about what I'm talking about right now.
Right. Right.
You
Right.
get
Right.
excited. It's almost like some adrenaline in your blood. And so when you get involved into what you're doing, what you're passionate about, it can seem like, okay, I'm doing this, but me personally too, had to realize that, okay, I understand that my desire would be for my husband. I understand that I am the help meet for my husband. I understand that I am the I help him meet his goals. Like that's the ultimate um purpose of,
Mm-hmm.
one of the purposes of women, of course. But
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say that when it feels like there's an imbalance, it's normally because you're not getting that 20% of
Mm-hmm.
away time or me time or something outside of the relationship. Like this
Right.
podcast that I'm doing right now is a part of my 20%. But
Yes.
I hadn't been getting my 20%, but I had been trying to get my 20%. I had some other things going on, but I've been trying to get my
Right.
20%. But I'm trying to make sure that I keep it balanced, where I make sure I get the 20%, because I definitely can feel when I'm not getting the 20%. And like you were saying earlier, when you get that 20%, it's like you come back to the relationship, or your relationships as a
Yeah.
mother, to your people in your
Yeah.
life, as refreshed, and you're able to
Yeah.
give them the best you, like the best version
That's
of you.
right. Absolutely. Because quiet is kept. Men, they taking their 20%, whether it be playing
Girl,
basketball,
you
going to
better
watch
say
the
that.
NBA game, whatever it be. And they do so unapologetically so. And so I think
Yes.
it's moms, and it's women, sometimes we put that guilt on us. That doesn't need to
Hmm.
be there.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't have to, they'll go kiss you and say, okay, I'm going to go watch the game. Or I'm going to play a pickup game. And even
Mm-hmm.
if it's something so small, that's still time for them to hit the reset button to come back. I think everybody needs that. It's
Yes.
imperative for everybody. And so you have to get to a point where and I think it's hard for moms. And then, and then when you
Yes.
come into motherhood, first time mom, then it's just the guilt along with it. And then you feel like you're working outside the home. And so I don't want to be away from them at home. And then, at work,
Right.
and now I'm going to go and hang out, And so it's just, we're harder on ourselves sometimes than need be. But
Mm-hmm.
I would tell everybody, girl, take that 20%, take that 25%.
Yeah,
You deserve it.
I definitely agree.
Yeah.
And then so not even just talking about relationship, but actually talking about the person. Just wanted to touch
Mm-hmm.
on that briefly. How people also say that you can only find 80% of what you're looking for in a person. And people have started to look at that as, oh, I'm settling. Like for
Mm.
me, I feel like if it's not a deal breaker, I can pretty much move forward. Like continue to
Right,
move forward. Like if it's not like something, blatant disrespect or,
right,
infidelity or, something like that, that's one of the things. I mean, I do have my petty pet peeves, but
right. We
the
all
ones
do.
that are not the ones that are not like deal breakers, like, it's not that big of a deal. Like I'll say, I remember a time when, um oh, not a time, but this was like recent, where my guy brought me a part for my vehicle. He brought
Mm-hmm.
the first part. I didn't know he was buying. It was my windshield wipers, and I did a live about it. But it was unexpected. And so I was like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, I didn't even talk to him about my windshield wipers, number one. But
Right,
I was just thinking, like, I'm like, wow, would I rather him be romantic with flowers, or would I rather him be romantic with acts of service? And I
right,
guess that goes to the five love languages. And I'm like, I'm all of those. I love all of those things, but I do like acts of service. So I'm like, okay, I'm
right,
good with the
right.
acts of service because that's one of my, love language. But somebody else may not be,
Yeah,
good with acts of service.
absolutely. And touching back on what you said with regards to you know, you said that most people are looking for someone who has. I'm with you. Long as it's not the big things, of course, anything, that compromises or go against what you think morally
Right.
or your religious belief, those are major things. But if we're talking about now those women that I've talked to people, and friends and things like have checklists. Like, come on,
Uh-huh.
you're not making no man, but of course you have to have standards,
Sometimes
you
we
know.
think we are making men.
I know, but it's just like nobody's gonna be. And would you want somebody to put you on a checklist? You know what I'm saying? Like certain things, of course. Now let's not make any sense about it. Some things it is deal breakers. And you're supposed to have your
Yeah.
expectations. But it seems like if a person is not like it's little things like his big toe was longer than his like come on it's like
Girl,
you
listen,
can't find a perfect.
I have, stopped continuing on and talking to somebody for the smallest thing. So I can relate. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying that,
Right,
I'm getting better with time and experience.
right. And I get that because it's almost as if like you feel like let me just see if it's somebody else that gets the 9 out of 10. He only
Right.
getting 7 out of 10. I'm
See?
looking for.
And
But what if the 9 out of 10 never come?
look, the other thing is that a lot of times people be looking for someone better, and it's like there's always going to be somebody better. So you're going to be looking for the
Right,
rest of your life for somebody better, because
right.
there's always going to be somebody better. Somebody
Absolutely,
may look better than
absolutely.
you. Somebody booty may be bigger than yours. Somebody
Yep.
chest may be bigger than yours. So then what you gonna
Right,
do?
right,
So
right.
let's go
Yeah.
to some of the comments. I
Okay.
know they were flashed up really fast, but I just wanted to go back. Lashia, Is that
Yeah,
her
that's my
name?
cousin.
Lashia. Okay. Okay, so it's on the screen. You can read it since that's your friend. That's your cousin.
Oh, now you know his ass is bad. You want to read
Oh,
it for
okay.
me
No,
because
no,
I
no.
can't
I'll
read.
read it. I'll read it. I'm sorry. Okay, she says relationships evolve and it can be a beautiful or destructive experience. Communication is the key.
Absolutely, I agree. With any relationship, the foundation has to be communication. If you don't have if you get into getting with someone for the wrong reasons, like we were saying, oh, he ain't good. You got to have good communication. That is the foundation for anything in any relationship. We're not just talking about a romantic relationship.
Yeah,
Communication is imperative because when you're in a relationship, it ain't always going to be hunky dory. So
yeah.
being able to effective communicate with someone makes a difference in
That's
everything.
the key.
So
That's
yeah,
now that's the key.
absolutely,
Effective
absolutely,
communication. And I
yes.
I think one of the things that I learned about myself over the last few years is that I do not communicate well. Like I'm
Okay.
not a person that will come out bluntly and say to a person, "Oh, I don't want to date you anymore because XYZ," or "I don't like you because X, Y, and Z." Because I and people don't, unless you know me, you don't know this about me because people naturally
Right.
assume, "Oh my God, she's so this." But
Mhm.
I hate to hurt people's feelings. So if I've had like a soft spot for you in my heart, like we was, in a relationship, we was together, and
Right.
then I feel like it needs to come to an end, I will not come right out and be like this.
No,
I would, girl, no,
but
because I don't
but
want
then
to.
you stand with him for pity as opposed to purpose. You know, like you know, like so
I
how does
agree.
it
I'm not saying that it's right. I'm just saying that
right?
I've done
Yeah,
I've done this. I have done
yeah,
this. And even before I moved to Dallas, I was in a relationship with a guy. We were engaged. We were going to marriage counseling to, prepare for marriage. But it was in that class that we took that I learned
right.
I didn't want to be with this man. I did
Yeah,
not want to be with this man.
yeah.
Um, and so
It,
because we had a relationship where he was, he was had a relationship with my daughters, like they would, talk to him sometimes. But I'm like, you could talk to. I could basically find any man that has some common sense. Of course, I'm not gonna bring
right,
anybody, but that can
of
have a
course.
relationship with my daughters and give them sound advice. So it was
Right,
like I was looking at the whole picture and not just,
right.
okay, are you being selfish because you don't like him being passive aggressive? Are you tired of him getting an attitude like a little girl all the time? Like, what is the real, like, can you bear it? And like Desiree put a question up here, but would you want more later? I think in that situation, because I wanted more later, I finally was like, we need to
Hmm.
go to dinner. And at the dinner, I was like, I want this relationship to end. I don't want to be in it anymore.
Yeah,
And
I can imagine that would be difficult. I mean,
and it
that
was
would be
hard. It
difficult.
was so
Yeah,
hard. And then like we didn't even like, even though we broke up, he still was coming around and we still was like hanging around each other because he was still so hurt. So then it was like, oh my God, he's so hurt. I didn't hurt this man. Let me, so girl,
yeah,
yes, I am the
yeah. But then you
worst.
know what? But then he could be the best somebody for somebody else. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? Like it just wasn't meant for you and him. So it's best because then you don't like Desiree said, you don't want to start selling.
Right.
And and then it's always going to be that way. It's best just to let it be known, and now he can move on to somebody that's looking for that, and then you can
Yep.
move forward to what you need, what you want.
I,
You should
I
never
feel like
come
I
into a
did good.
situation. There you go. I don't think anyone should ever come into a situation feeling like as if they are going to settle, because relationship is a lot of work, whether you
Yes,
courting,
girl.
you
Come
engaged,
on
or you're
here.
married.
Come
So
on. You
I
better
don't think that
preach.
you should, if you see red flags off the bat, why would you continue? You want
Yeah.
to make sure that you're moving along with someone that you can see yourself at least committing to your long term in this process. Because I'm
Yeah.
always about thinking long term. If especially if we're gonna go to the altar and say I do before
Hmm.
God.
Right.
I don't want to go in thinking like, oh well, maybe I can change, because you can't change anyone.
Baby, you
We
cannot change not one person
no,
in this world, okay?
not at
Only
all,
person you
not at
can
all.
change is like a baby. I mean, the baby can't
Yeah,
talk. So it's
Right.
like,
And when they start talking and telling you no, hell, then you
that's one of the first couple of words they learn is no. It's so easy for
no.
them. So Lakeisha had a comment too. She said, not settling, just being realistic. We are all a work in progress. We are definitely continue to evolve. We will
Right.
always be evolving.
Absolutely.
Yes, girl. Let me
Even
just
when
see.
you are secure in a relationship, I think that you know, long term or marriage or whatever, you should always be evolving. You should be striving to evolve. You shouldn't just get there and get stuck one way. I think that we should all, you know, try to better ourselves because we change. The needs and wants that you have. Like, for example, I've been with my husband, you know, we've been together over 20 years now, but we got
Yeah.
together when I was 20, fresh face, tenderoni, you know?
Come on.
So, so the needs and wants that I had is 21, no kids, don't know life. It's totally different the needs and wants that I have at 40 something. You know, and have experienced life and, you know, and different
Yes.
things along the way. And so I think that you both should want to and continue to evolve and grow throughout the process. It's not going to work if someone ceases to evolve. It's just not going
That's
to be.
right.
You can't be
That's right.
here and I'm
Yep.
there. You know, we got
Right.
to,
I'm the only
you
one
know,
growing in this relationship. No, you need to
right,
grow too, buddy. You
right.
ain't like what?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I wanted to hit on what you said about the red flags. So because everybody does not get in a relationship that's completely whole and healed, and there's a lot of dysfunction going on and toxicity going on, I wanted to
Right.
touch on the fact that sometimes we can think something is a red flag and it's not a red flag. It's actually us doing the whole self-sabotage thing. And
Yes.
I know I am I have done that before
Mhm.
and I had to catch myself like, girl,
Right.
and talk
Right.
to my wise counsel. Got to talk to
Right.
my friends and,
Yeah.
let them know, like, and then y'all let me know if it's
Right.
me, and that's another thing too, having people around you that can give you transparent advice and not
Mm-hmm.
be biased, and also
Right.
the intention and the place that it comes from is not
Right.
coming from a place of I don't know, hatred, bitterness,
And-
things
Yes.
like that.
Right. That's everything. And I like to think of myself as a forever student. You know, just
Yeah.
because you've been
Yep.
together for forevermore, whether it be married or not, that doesn't mean
Hmm.
that you know it all. You know, like it's
Yep.
still things and what is it, pearls of wisdom that you get from everybody. It's couples who've been married
Yep.
less time, and you're discussing
Yep.
like, oh yeah, I didn't think about it from that perspective.
Yep.
Single, they have different perspective on different
Hmm.
things. So you can forever, like, I think the problem is when people think that they know it all because
Yep.
A, B, and C. Like, no, you don't know it all, and you should always be open minded to, not that you're going to necessarily take that advice or verbatim do everything that people
Right.
suggest that you do,
That's
but
right.
just being
Yep.
open minded
Yep.
that it's other perspective, not
Yeah.
just what you think you know because you're the vet in the game, so to
and
speak.
and and what you thinking may not be it at all,
There you go.
because
Yeah.
sometimes we think from our perspective, from what we've experienced or what we've seen or what we saw, and that's not always the case. So we have to make
Right.
sure that we are being careful about that. Now we're going to
Right.
go to our next commercial, so we'll be
Okay.
back, and this commercial is called The Lost Season.
All right.
So let's talk about those communication, especially communication barriers between men and women. Like right here, silence. That's a barrier because one person wants to say something, the other person wants to say something, but they don't say anything. There's a gap there, huh? I'm preaching today better than you responding. My pastor in Atlanta used to say that. Shout out to Pastor Marquise Boone. So,
that communication is the core of everything. If you don't have communication, it makes the relationship somewhat frustrating. And so when women communicate to men, and men communicate to women, they actually communicate very different. I had a brother tell me when I was in business how when you tell a story to a man, you actually need to tell them the end of the story first and then go over the details, because they're waiting until the end of the story and their mind goes completely to thinking like, how can I fix this? How can I solve the story that she's saying? And so right there.
I was listening to you and I was trying to figure out a way to solve your communication barrier issues. So here's the situation though. So I think though
listening but
that,
not hearing.
yeah, well, I mean, I heard words and they were coming through and I was funneling them and I was trying to figure out how to fix your situation. So here's the situation that I see right now. I understand that women want to use all of their words, and I think that's the problem with communication. Women use way too many words. If I may talk about every single woman that I've ever dated, they all, including you, talk way too much. Listen, and my producer's sitting there nodding because he agree with everything that I say right now.
And not all men are like that, though.
Yeah, they are.
God,
every last one.
No, that is not
every last
true.
one.
Oh, wait. I can't. Mm-mm. Okay, so while we are letting Nikisa, we can't hear her, while she's working through that, then we're going to check in and see. But this 80-20 rule, that was real. That was really interesting and fun. And thank you guys for the comments that you provided us in regards to your opinion. I saw one from Lashia that said every 5 years the pastor told her that we marry someone different, or someone new, I should say. I agree wholeheartedly. And hopefully it's someone new for the better. The person is transitioning themselves into being better, and not for the worst. And so that was interesting to know, because that was the first time that I heard that every 5 years you marry someone new. And that's a good way to look about things too, because it does make sense. You should continue to evolve and continue to grow, and hopefully your significant other is doing the same. I'm wondering if Nikisa is still having her technical difficulties. One second. Hold on one second. Okay. So also, while we're waiting on that, just touching a little bit more in regards to the warning signs in relationships that me and Nikisa spoke about. I think that it can always be warning signs will continue to show up all the time. And like Nikisa was saying, that sometimes it's difficult to break away. I find strength in those when it's harder. To me, it's harder to stay into something, and even if you are doing it with a purpose, because you're not comfortable with breaking it off with them. There we go, Nikisa. You had me just trying to. I'm like, okay.
Come on, freestyle.
I'm like, okay, I'm running out now. I'm running out.
You're getting your feet wet, girl. So you can go.
I'm just saying.
More.
I'm like, I haven't had enough of Sips Wine for this now.
Share that wisdom. Share that wisdom.
Right.
Okay.
I'm like, okay.
All right, you ready for
I
the
am
lightning
happy
round?
you back. Yes, let's do the lightning round. You want first?
I'm sure you did great. I'm sure you held it down as usual.
Great.
Okay, so we don't have a timer, so we're just gonna flow through the questions.
Okay.
First question. So,
all right.
Relationship Hotspot. This is our lightning round. So sit back and just watch, so you can see how it goes. All right, Nina.
Okay.
Where would you want to go on vacation?
Oh, vacation. You know, I haven't been Hawaii. I want to go to Hawaii.
Okay. What's your most memorable moment in life?
I have a few. The birth of my children.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What are you completely over and done with?
COVID.
What's your
Over it.
favorite drink?
Favorite drink?
Hmm.
Alcoholic or not?
It doesn't matter.
Why?
Oh man. Um, I had one. Oh, what's a hobby? What's a hobby of yours that people may not know? I mean, people in your house may know, but people that don't
Yes.
live with you may not know.
Well, don't let the blonde hair fool you. You know, I like to coupon. I like to get a mean deal. So I'm
Oh,
up there. I'm not an extreme couponist, but
okay.
I didn't do bad. I don't do bad, but that's what I like to do.
So I've never got into it, but I be seeing those posts on Facebook, and I be like, I want some. I need some
Yes.
mercy powder. I need some wipes. Like I need all of that stuff. Where y'all get that
Telling
stuff
you.
from?
Yes.
Okay, so what is something that you would want to improve in your life?
Hmm. Well, me stepping outside of my box.
Okay.
I got myself in such just period and comfort. And like this right here in itself, is stepping outside of my box. So stepping outside of my
Yay.
comfort zone, not always walking with what's easy, challenging myself to try new things. So
Ooh. Okay. What's your favorite season of the year?
fall. So I could put on my ankle boots and my knee boots.
How did I know you was gonna say that? How did I know that you was gonna say
I'm
that?
over this
Okay.
100-degree weather.
What's your favorite song?
Ooh, I'm an old school girl, so I got a bunch of. I like old school R&B.
Me too.
So I don't have a lot. I mean, I have so many. I can't really think of just one, but I like Switch. I Call Your Name. I like a couple of them.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What makes you laugh the most?
Um, Everything. I like to laugh. I feel like it's imperative. I love to laugh. So anything can make me laugh. I could be reading a post and I at one of y'all or my family members and be like, have you seen this? And just reading the comments will have me dying. So I think
Okay.
that if you can't stand a laugh in a day, then something ain't right with
All righty. Well, I'm not sure how many questions that was, but I'm going to let you ask me my question.
you. Okay. So mine is
Oh
this or that.
Lord.
All right.
Okay.
This or that. And so if you had a superpower, what would it be and why?
Um. Oh, I would say that I could fly, but I also say I would want it to be like I had a weapon where I can just like zigzag people
Yeah.
out the world, like all the
Get them
criminals,
going.
just
Get
gone,
them
just
going.
zig, bong, gone, 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 gone.
Get
All of
out of here.
y'all.
Right? Out of here. Okay. Lunch or dinner?
Lunch.
Text or talk?
So that depends on the person, but I
Okay.
would rather talk.
Okay. Sand or grass?
I'm gonna go with sand, even though it can be
Okay.
messy. I'll go with
Yeah.
sand.
All right. This one's gonna be a little salacious, depending on how you take it. Big hands or big feet or both?
um, I'm gonna go with. Uh, I'm gonna go with big hands because I was thinking that if the man hands are smaller than my hands,
Right.
I don't know how that's gonna work. And I'm
I
kind of
know.
like, thick around the
Just a little too
midsection.
right. The
and I
little
need
tiny
you
fingers
to
on the small of your back.
listen. No, no, ma'am, no. Um, yeah.
Okay. Eyes or smile?
Oh, I'm gonna go with smile.
Okay. Heels or
Smile.
sneakers?
I'm gonna go with sneakers, and the only reason why I'm going with sneakers is because when ever since I broke my left ankle, it is so hard for me to wear heels. Even though I like to
Yeah.
wear heels because I want to be sexy when I'm out here
Right.
in these streets, but
Exactly.
but they hurt sometimes, so I can't always wear
Yeah.
them. So I'm gonna go with
Right.
sneakers.
All right. What about music or a good book?
A good book. I am a reader. I love books. You can put me in the bookstore any day. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Day dates or night dates or both? Or day dates that lead into night dates?
Day dates that lead into night dates.
There we
Because
go.
it's more time, and I just think about all the
Yes.
quality time and the companionship going on. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And my last one, spontaneity or plan?
So I'm trying to do better. So I be used to say, "Oh, I'm so spontaneous" or whatever. But I found out in life, I am really a planned girl. I remember a
Yeah.
time. This is gonna be a very short story, but I remember a time I went on a date with this guy,
Uh-huh.
and leading up to the date, I didn't know where we was going. And I'm like,
Right?
where are we going? And he was like, oh, I'm spontaneous, we'll see when I pick you up. And I'm like, no, I need to know where we're going. And
Right.
so he was like, well, I like to be spontaneous, I didn't really have nothing really picked. And I'm like, I need plans. I need to know what time we're going, if we're going to the movies, what time the movies start, what time it's like.
Right.
I need to have all the plans and I need detailed plans. So,
Oh,
yes, that's how I am. However,
yeah.
I do like being spontaneous. I do like, hey, babe, pack your bag. We finna go fly
Yes.
somewhere or for the
Yes.
weekend or something like that. I
Right.
love that. But I
Yes.
mean, is that going on these days? Kind of, sort of, kind of,
Yeah,
sort
that's
of.
true, man. That's true. That is true. I'm with you. I, but I'm more on the spontaneous thing. Like I'm like, okay, let's do this, let's do that. But if I got time to think about it, then let's plan
Uh-huh.
it out. You know, where these kids
Yeah.
gonna go, this and that. But you know, if
Mm-hmm.
you just tell me grab something and go, I ain't thinking about it. I'm just grabbing and go.
Yeah.
But so both. I can do both.
I'd rather have a plan and then change the plan. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather have a plan, like an itinerary plan, and then things get changed. So, okay, we was gonna go to the movies, but we going zip lining. Like, okay, cool. I like that. At least we have some type of structure. So,
Right. Okay.
that was the end of our lightning round. We are
Right.
going to bring up my co-host, Javon.
All right.
What in the world? And Chastity, hey.
Hey.
I'm not gonna lie, listening to y'all makes me drink because I just want to just yell into this screen so bad about all this 80-20 and whatnot. First of all, Nina, how you doing, girl?
Good. How about yourself?
Fantastic. Miss Nikisa, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
What up, Chaz?
What it do?
Now,
I see
where
them
are you?
lashes. Because, man, y'all show calls me to drink with all these rules for men. I mean, can a brother just show up and be like, hey, let's go out, and then that be the end of it? Why we got to do plans and give me a
Nope.
structure, and I need an itinerary, and I need to know what we're doing between 7:51 and 30 seconds and 7:55 and 25 seconds. Y'all want too much.
Period.
Bet y'all love
But
us.
there you
Y'all,
go.
y'all love us so much that y'all can't even do without us.
That
Exactly.
way.
So
Women and
you drink
alcohol,
you
hand in
you
hand.
think you drinking because of the show, but you're actually drinking because you want to have a woman. You want to be married.
Yes, I do. Let me tell you when I took my first shot, though, and then we're gonna get to next week. So I know that's why you brought us on. When you was talking about you was dating a guy, going to counseling and everything. He's all ace coon boom with your daughters. Everything's going good. No, don't get off the show now, Nikisa. Come on back. Don't try to go black now. But I'm gonna keep going. So then she talks about getting all ace coon boom with him, and then she's like, "Ooh, I really don't want to do this. But I don't really want to be with him and all this other stuff." But still letting the stuff go along. Chaz, have you ever done this to somebody where they get in with your kid and everything's going good and you're like, you know what, I really don't want to do this no more, but you let him still come around and be around your kids, still building them relationships stronger?
No, because when I cut you off, the kids are cut off too. That's a no-go. I'm one of
That's
those.
a no-go.
Yeah. No, can't.
But not in Nikisa's world, though. We're going to let you keep, you know what? I bet Nikisa will let the dude fly her to Miami and everything. Like, just keep on building and building and building. So what we're going to do.
She should have just ghosted him, right?
She should have just ghosted him. Then that's what we're going to be. I see this is the reason why I got you on the team. Because that's what we're going to be talking about next week. We're going to be talking about ghosting and have you ever ghosted? When did you ghost? Why did you ghost? Let me start with you before I get to you, Chastity. Nina, have you ever ghosted anybody?
Okay, here we go. So I've been in
ghosted somebody.
Of course not. I've been in a relationship, for over 20 years. So in terms of romantically, no.
You never ghosted nobody.
No, I'm talking about romantically, no. Associates, I have definitely ghosted some folks, for sure.
You ghosted, wait a minute, you ghosted friends?
They weren't friends, though. They was friends of friends. That's why it's called associate. Of course, you can't ghost your friend. For example, let me just give you an example. You're hanging out, you with your girls, and your girls bring girls and girls and girls. And so y'all having fun, and so you guys all exchange phone numbers to do something. And then, this one time, the girl called. I'm like, okay, yeah, you want to do something? But she wasn't the same fun person that she was that night. I'm like, this is a whole different person. Like, we don't have anything in common. Like, why would I continue to act like we're going to be some friends? It's like,
wow.
like I catch you on the... But it's not called ghosting. Y'all term it ghosting. I term it, it is what it is. Catch this back.
She created it is what it is.
Yeah, but what it is. Dudes tend to ghost in the midst of a situation. So, like, I've been in a situation where a dude has ghosted me for like 2 weeks and then comes back as if everything is cool, as if those 2 weeks he didn't disappear on me.
Yeah, they did
and that's the issue. It's the fact that it's different between you leaving and not talking to me no more. Like we just lose communication versus you think that you could just go Casper the ghost.
I've done that.
And leave for like 2 weeks and then come back and be like as if everything's good and it's not.
Yeah, I've done that before. I'm not saying now in my older age, but I've done that before where it was like I was talking to somebody else and I'm not talking to this person anymore because I'm talking to somebody else that's better. That didn't work out. So now I'm going to go back in my phone book and I'm going to look you up and I'm going to message you. Hey, boy, hey, and see if you bite. If you bite, then we move forward. If not, then no love lost.
So you've ghosted before, Nikisa? So you've ghosted before, Nikisa?
I have.
Huh. I think I remember fondly you ghosting before, Nikisa, because I believe that was me who you ghosted before, Nikisa.
I've ghosted so many people, so I guess you were one of them.
Yes, I was definitely one of them. And I never got the call back either, which is the funny part about it. She was happy to ghost me. She went straight Casper. Straight Casper. And I was like, and I'm like, Nikisa, you good? Nikisa, you everything all right? Nikisa, where you at? Nikisa, you dead? And I'm like, I think, oh, no, it wasn't until the messages started turning green where I was like,
no.
Nikisa.
No.
So yes, Nikisa has definitely ghosted before.
Too much access.
Too much access.
Y'all have too much like I could not imagine dating now. Y'all now it's too much access to each other. Like back 20-some years ago when I was dating, you just had the cell phone. You didn't have social media. You didn't have iPhone trackers. You didn't have texting and FaceTime and all this other stuff. So if you and the guy, for whatever reason, lost connection, you was like, okay, it is what it is. You know, me, how arrogant I was back then. I'm like, oh, he must have gotten, his house must have burned fire. His cell phone was in there. He couldn't get in contact with me. Only logical excuse, you know, God called you to the mission. So now, though, I can see how you would feel some type of way because you communicate with someone, and then now you get logged onto your Facebook, and you see him living his best life at the bar, watching the NBA finals.
Come on here.
When you just applaud him. So I would feel some type of way. I would be thinking like, you mean you're not in the hospital with your last few breaths?
You got dead? You mean
right? So I can understand. But this is a different beast. But y'all call it ghosting. I call it is what it is, But
my sister's so savage.
Yes, she is. And I'm looking forward. I cannot wait to have this conversation next week because I'm going to talk about Nikisa ghosting me. I'm going to talk about those who I've had to ghost. I'm going to dig all into Chastity's business about her ghosting, being the ghoster and the ghostee. We're going to do all of that. So I need everybody to tune back in next Thursday, 7 o'clock, same time, same channel, where we talk about ghosting and some other things. And on this, the end of the year, end of season, Relationship Hotspot, Relationship Podcast, all that good stuff. And by the way, Nikisa, the proper earlier, still not that easy, is it? And that's why Cassidy's doing them next week. You did a great job.
And do not beat her up either. If she gets it,
I'm gonna whoop her the way I used to whoop you, in a loving, kind, corrective way, while wearing my that's what we're gonna do. So anyway, Chastity, what else do you have to say before we go?
Nothing else. Just tune in next week and you'll see.
Tune in next week and you'll see. Great job, Miss Nee.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. All right, so we will definitely be back next week. As you can see, me and my co-host Javon, we're doing the show a little bit different. So we will have different people on the show every week. So this was my week. Next week is his week. So make sure you join in next Thursday to hear him and Chastity talk about ghosting. Hopefully, I'll be able to come on and tell the true, rightful story the correct way.
Right?
I want to thank Mrs. Nee, for joining me tonight and being my co-host. You definitely did an amazing, natural job.
Thank you.
Hopefully you'll come back on the show and be a co-host again, or maybe a guest. Did you have any last words?
No, thanks for having me. It's been so fun, and all the topics were very interesting, and just nothing. I have nothing to say. We have touched on everything besides the 80-20. One more thing I want to say to those ladies.
Okay.
Make sure that's entering or what. Make sure don't apologize for moving forward and taking your 20%, if not more. Like, be the best that you can be. Feed yourself, and that can only help everything grow. So do your thing. Continue to be fabulous, and you can be fabulous doing a multitude of things. So
yes, I definitely agree. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, everybody. We want to thank you for tuning in to tonight's Relationship Hotspot podcast. Don't forget, you can email us at myrelationshiphotspot@gmail.com or by calling or texting the show anytime at 903-636-3893. You can also connect with us on Facebook and Instagram at Relationship Hotspot. Thank you and have a good night. Oh,
good night.
And one more thing. You can also find the podcast on anchor.fm/iDream. That's anchor.fm/iDream. And also there is one more, I believe, that he wanted to put up. Or am I right or am I wrong? iDream Productions? Or was it another one? Okay. Well, I hope maybe I did it right then. Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the show. Everybody have an amazing evening.
Good
Bye.
night.
Bye.